So today I'm gonna go through the steps of how to make a bowl on the wheel. The first thing I did was I wedged my clay. This is about 2 pounds. And then I slammed it down in the center of the bat. And now I'm gonna take my hands and kind of karate chop it or pat it into a little mountain to start the centering process. And then I'm gonna make sure that my stool is all the way up and that I'm very close to the wheel. And I'm gonna make sure that my arms are like super glued to my legs for stability, because I don't wanna be far away from the wheel and wiggling around. I wanna control the clay and use my body weight to do it. When we center, which is the first step, centering the clay, we need to have the wheel go fast, a fast speed. Not like super fast that you're gonna lose control, but faster. You don't want it to go slow. If it's going slow, it's gonna be really hard to center it and get it even. So I'm gonna get my wheel going fast. I got lots of water ready. I'm gonna put water on the clay. And I'm gonna brace my hands. I'm gonna take my hands touching the bat and I'm gonna squeeze in and pull the clay towards me as I do it. Squeeze in and then pull the clay towards you and slowly start to come up. I'm gonna repeat that until it's an even cone. Squeeze in. See how my hands are still? They're not wiggling around because I'm controlling the clay. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dome it down. So pressing down and in with both my hands. Make sure I have lots of water. You always need water so that the clay will slide through your hands. Otherwise, you'll rip it off the wheel if you don't have enough water. So press down and press in with both hands. So I have a little dome. It's still a little bit off center, so I'm gonna try and make some adjustments at the bottom. I'm gonna pull the clay towards me. And I'm gonna push down again. And I'm really using my body weight to kind of try and hold the clay steady. I have some clay out here that I'm gonna get rid of. Okay, and you know that the clay's centered when it's not wiggly. It looks almost like it's standing still, but it's moving really fast. Okay, the next step is opening. So I'm gonna take my thumbs, I'm gonna find the center of the dome. My hands are still braced, or my arms are still braced against my body. They're not up here. And I'm gonna press down, because this is going to make the opening of my clay pot. If it gets dry, just put a little bit more water. And then when you think that you're maybe like 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 inch away from the bottom, you're gonna stop your wheel, use the pin tool down, finger down to touch the floor of the pot and pull out without moving. My bottom is still too thick, so I want to cut it in half, make it like half the size that it is. So I'm gonna open just a little, I'm gonna push down a little bit more. Then I'm gonna stop it and retest it with the pin tool. Pin tool down. That's about how thick my bottom is. That's pretty good, because then after I'm done and my pot's leather hard, I'm gonna do trimming, trim the pot. When it's leather hard, that's how you put a foot in the bottom, so I'll carve away some of the bottom. I'll show you guys how to do that in another video. All right, so now I gotta make my pot wider. There's a couple different ways you can open. You can either do thumbs at the bottom and stretch out, or you can brace with your left hand and pull towards you. For this one, I think I'm gonna do thumbs in the bottom and pull out. So I'm bracing with the sides, or my palms against the side of the pot, thumbs are down. I'm gonna slow down my wheel a little bit. And I'm gonna slowly stretch my thumbs out. And I'm making my pot wider. I think I'm gonna switch now. I'm gonna hold here with my left hand and I'm gonna pull towards me with my right hand to keep making it a little bit bigger. Okay, the wider you make your pot, the wider it's gonna be. So I'm gonna stop right about there. I'm gonna compress the bottom of my pot. You can use a sponge, you can use your fingers, but this helps to prevent your pot from cracking. Compress your rim a little bit. Now you're ready for the third step, which is pulling. So to do this, make sure you got water on your pot. I always touch my thumbs together, almost like you're gonna make the bird fly away. But I'm gonna touch my thumbs together, put my left hand inside, right hand on the outside. I'm gonna squeeze in and pull up. Because I'm making a bowl, I'm also gonna pull out so that it's got the flared bowl shape. So I'm touching my thumbs, squeeze in at the bottom, sit there for a minute, really grab the clay, and then pull up and out. Okay, I slowed my wheel down too. If my wheel's going too fast, I'm gonna lose control of it. I'm gonna put more water in between every pull. You put water, compress your rim. You can compress the bottom a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna do another pull. So I'm touching my thumbs again. My arms are still braced against my body. I'm gonna squeeze in. So my left hand's pushing out, my right hand's pushing in. I'm really squeezing the clay, pulling up and out. Compress my rim. Compress the bottom. Add a little bit more water. I'm gonna slow the wheel down just a little bit more. Squeeze in. Pull up and out. I'm gonna compress my bottom, make sure it's all smooth. Make sure there's not a bunch of water in there. If there's a bunch of water, you gotta get it out with your sponge, otherwise it will crack and it will disintegrate the bottom of your pot. So you don't want a lot of water in there. Okay, and then the last step is shaping. So for this part with a bowl, make sure your hands are clean. You can use a rubber rib on the inside and you're gonna kind of gently push out with your rib while your right hand braces it. So I'm gonna start at the bottom. I'm gonna slow the wheel down even more. And I'm gonna gently push out against my right hand. Usually you want the inside of your bowl to be rounded and have a nice round shape on the inside. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. Pushing out. And then usually you can drop your head and look at it to see the profile of your pot. I'm also gonna flare my rim out just a little bit. So I'm gonna hold my fingers here. I'm gonna kind of fold the rim out. I'm gonna actually use my sponge at the top to hold it steady. Flaring the rim out. Then at the end, you use the wooden stick to take away some of the clay at the bottom. Remember, we're gonna trim these when they get leather hard. So we'll make the bottom look nice, carve a foot into it. I'm just removing the extra clay. You can clean your bat off. I want to compress the bottom one more time, make sure that there's no water in there. And take your bat off. And that's it.